lights might go out, but we don't. This is your guide, your neighbor in the know, your host, Big Dave. Back to the basics.
And welcome into Back to the Basics with Big Dave. Got Mr. Wayne on assignment this week, and he will be back hopefully next week. But we got a great show for you tonight, and it is with my buddy Patrick from Mountain Heart Homestead. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Big Dave. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, brother. It's crazy because you were on here a year ago, and it was March 12th, I think it was, of 2025. And now we're just going to make this a once or twice a year deal where you just come on to the show. You just call me up and go, hey, it's time.
I would love that. That'd be great.
I know there's a lot of stuff that has been going on. Number one, I really tried to watch every one of y'all in January. Y'all were spitting stuff out left and right during January, and that was a great group of people. So you want to tell us about what happened during January?
Oh yeah, and you're right. Those creators I work with in January, fantastic. So it's Jen again, who's a water bath queen. She turns out a ton of content, and then is kind of a suburban or urban homesteader, and then Hollis Homestead, Amber with Hollis Homestead, has a 1.5 acre place and does a lot of homesteading there. And then Olive Blue Homestead, Kylie, also a really great homesteader, all legit, turning out a lot of content all the time. Super, just brilliant people, do great work. And what we did this year that was different than most Januaries is it wasn't just about the recipes. We did a little over a week of the basics of canning, trying to introduce people to different styles of preservation to make it maybe more beginner oriented.
I loved it. I loved that too.
Necessarily intimidated right off the bat, because a lot of the canning content out there is really cool, but it's also pretty high level.
It is. It's very high level, and it people get intimidated by it big time. I know when I first, it's like Mr. Wayne, that my co-host, he wants to start canning, and he asked me, he goes, what should I start off with? And I said, first thing first, water bath and jelly.
Mm-hmm.
Just them two things. It starts teaching you the ins and the outs, and if you mess up, it's kind of a little bit more forgiving than trying to can chicken for 90 minutes on a pressure canner.
Right.
So I told him we're going to start him off with some jelly, get his feet wet and all that, because you can do that with a pot that you have in your cupboard right now.
No, absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about water bath canning is, all you need is a pot deep enough to cover your jars. And really that's it. And, a good, like a grape jelly, something, you grab you some 100% grape juice at the store, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of pectin, and you're off to the races.
You are off to the race, and it's good. I'm going to tell you, my daughter, with my 4 grandsons, she asked me a couple of weeks ago, she goes, when you going to make some more jelly? And I said, I've got some stuff out there on the shelf. She goes, no. Yours spreads on bread easier than store-bought, so I'm like, okay, I'll make some more. But I've really been trying to tear it up with that. But you also, it's like I told him, he can use one of his pots and a towel
Mm-hmm.
and put it in the bottom. And he goes, well, I always keep a towel in the kitchen. I said, no, this ain't to wipe your hands with. This is to put under them jars so that they don't go straight to the heat.
Right. And
And
all it takes is that you can use jar rings, just something to keep the bottom of the jar from being in direct contact with the bottom of that pot, like you said.
right, I mean, it makes such a difference. And did I understand that y'all are having a preservation nation or something maybe in March? Are y'all doing something for March?
We are. We're going. It's probably going to be the back half of March. We're going to do maybe a 2 week another collaboration. We did something last year, marching into preservation. We may do
Right.
a version of that, but we're definitely gonna have a collaboration again in March, and then probably the group will do something every other month. It's kind of
Okay.
a plan.
All right. So this one's is it going to be y'all the same four,
It will.
or are you okay? Cool. And are y'all going to try to do Saturday nights again?
We hope so. There was a lot of stuff that towards the end of February, with Jen moving and everything
Right.
that slowed things down for us. And of course, we all have our regular lives. I'm of course retired, so I don't have an excuse. But um, Kylie and Amber, but they have young children. Jen was
Right.
moving halfway across the country, so they all had stuff happening. But we really enjoy the Saturday night lives. I love being live and interacting with folks like that. It's just
I
a good.
enjoyed it too, really. And I learned a lot.
Mhm.
And I got Wayne watching it a few times, and he was like, "Where do they learn all this?" I said, "You just," I said, "I learn from watching you guys
Mhm.
and y'all explaining and asking my questions."
Right.
And y'all usually will answer them. If you see them coming up, I mean, sometimes there's a lot of people asking stuff as it rolls. And people, if you're listening, we're talking about TikTok, Mountain Heart Homestead on TikTok. He's a retired fireman from Texas that moved
Mhm.
to West Virginia, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And how long you been in West Virginia?
We moved in April of 2022, so going on what, 5 years now, 4 years now.
Wow. Maybe your garden, maybe we won't have as much rain as you had last year.
Well, I hope so. Last year was just a tough garden season for us. Tomatoes didn't do great. Weeds did fantastic, but just so much rain and just couldn't get in the garden to do anything with it. Hopefully, it's not as bad this year.
Yeah, I mean it was rough on a lot of people. I didn't do anything last year. I didn't can anything. I didn't do anything last year. The whole year was shot with a lot of family stuff and me and but this year, Katie bar the door. I was telling you before um we came on, and I mean, I'm tearing it up on the canning. My
Hmm.
wife goes, "My Lord, you making up for last year?" And I said, "You dang right I am." I said, "I don't like it when I open the pantry and I don't see my jars
Right.
up there. I see, corporate jars up there because the way I look at it, no barcode, no recall.
That's exactly right. You know
You
what's
know,
in your food.
oh, and it's crazy, Patrick. My wife, the one that I love above all others on this earth, has been stealing my jars and taking them to work
Oh no.
and giving them to coworkers.
Uh-oh.
She's got a girl that works with her that is wanting to get into canning and stuff. So she took her some of my chicken,
Hmm.
and she was just telling me tonight uh, that her coworker made chicken salad with my chicken
Oh, that's
and
fantastic.
said it was awesome. It just
Yep.
flaked out of the jar. And she took her some of my beef stew.
Hmm.
She took her some of my spaghetti sauce. Her husband was raving so much about it that he never gets up and takes leftovers to work the next day. He works for the power company.
Hmm.
He took my pasta and pasta sauce
There you
to
go.
work with him next, and he was like, "I don't care what you do, you need to get that recipe from him."
Home cooking, there's just something different about home cooking. And the only thing about sharing jars, you just got to make sure you get the jar back. So,
Well, She owes me 2. She did
Yep.
send me some elderberry syrup in one, so that was a good trade for one, but,
Mhm.
she owes me for 2. But, yeah, you gotta get them jars back.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the pantry for us. When I look in here, I want to see. I want to get to a point where I've got 2 years worth of groceries on the shelf. That way, if
Exactly.
I have a bad garden season, we have illness, something like that, that keeps us out of the garden as we get older, we got that cushion,
Mhm.
because food ain't never going to be cheaper than it is today. They're
That's
not going to
right.
bring prices down. And then, when you're busy, we can turn out a fantastic home cooked meal in, 15, 20 minutes using stuff that we canned.
I
And it's
did
stuff
tonight.
that would take hours if you were doing it, from scratch. So,
I took a top sirloin roast
mhm.
and canned it up, and I went ahead and put the seasonings that we like in it and put it on this, canned it up. Well, tonight when I got home, I cut some of them little yellow potatoes,
Mhm.
cut them in half, put some oil on them, put some seasoning on them, put them in the oven. Then I went over there and popped the quart, poured it into a skillet and heated it up, and we had roast beef and pepper jack, basically hot dogs. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a beef dog. Put it in a hot dog and put some, peppermint jack on the top, and then we had them potatoes and I had green beans, and, I mean, it's crazy because my father-in-law keeps saying, "Every time you open a jar, it's getting better and better and better," and I think it has to do with the longer they sit on the shelf, the flavors just infuse.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that certainly. The they have more time to marry and to come back together from being processed and stuff. And we made venison tips and brown gravy, and you can do
Mm.
it over mashed potatoes or rice. We do it over rice, and it takes me longer to cook the rice than it does to heat up the venison and make my gravy. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's true homestead fast food, and it beats anything you're gonna get at the store.
Well, that's just like, everybody goes, "I buy the shredded I buy the already shredded cheese." If you take that versus you shredding it yourself, it is totally different
Hmm.
from anything else, and I went and got a shredder to go on my mixer, so now I just and now I do shred more than I need because it's so easy to do it.
Right.
You go crazy with it. But all right, guys, we're fixing to go out to break, and when we come back, me and Patrick are going to talk a little bit more. I've got something I want to ask him because he has on his TikTok, and you can find him at TikTok. He's also on YouTube. Also, he's pretty much everywhere you look. If you look up Mountain Heart Homestead, that's what he's on. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everything. But on one of his TikToks, he says the USDA is lying. Ooh, what is all of that about? All right, guys, we will be back right after this.
It's how we're made. From the field to the fire, let the new age break. We're standing tall. Back.
Would you try to survive the apocalypse?
Is that not what we're doing now?
Back to the basics with Big Dave. Contact the show. Email bigdave3xl@gmail.com.
All right, guys, welcome back into Back to the Basics with Big Dave. We are going to sit here and talk about the USDA is lying to us. Patrick, why is the USDA lying to us?
I think it's because they committed so much early on in the 30s, 40s, and 50s to pushing pressure canning on people that they just can't go. They can't go back now, And what the USDA has sold to the American people, and what they have convinced the American people of, is that pressure canning is the only safe way to process low acid foods. And that's just not true. It's a safe way. It is an effective mechanism to process low acid foods, but it's not the only way. And it's not the only way that's done around the world. As a matter of fact, water bath canning of low acid foods is very commonly done in places like Germany. And, WEC jars, WECK, is a certain type of canning jar they use in Germany, and they water bath. And they've got recipes specifically for low acid foods. So it's a matter of risk management, and it's a matter of a person's risk tolerance. But really, what you're talking about with the difference between water bath canning and pressure canning is a water bath recipe will eliminate 99.999% of the botulinum spores that are present. Pressure canning eliminates 99.99999. You go out to 11 nines after that decimal point. Percent of botulinum spores that are present.
Yeah.
So water bath canning works. It's just slower, where it's a matter of a couple of minutes at temperature and pressure. For the pressure canning, it takes 26 minutes per logarithmic reduction with water bath canning. So that's the rub. And the USDA doesn't come out and say that directly, but they acknowledge it in a roundabout way in their canning guide that's on the National Center for Home Food Preservation's website.
Well, I think also with some people, they think if it's not approved by the USDA or the alphabet, people, that you can't do it. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with that it was never tested.
Correct.
That they didn't test it, so they can't say it's approved until they test it.
Right.
Well, my grandmother and the Amish and all these other people, the Amish have been doing it for generations. I mean, forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't hear of people dying from botulism.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very uncommon illness. Foodborne botulism is the third leading type of botulism. The most common is, I believe, infant botulism, and then wound botulism, then foodborne. It's very, very rare. Now, it's serious if you get it, but it's very rare. What you said about the USDA, the USDA has equated untested with unsafe. And their testing is a rigorous scientific method, because their testing needs to be repeatable. So if I'm the USDA and I test a way to can potatoes or whatever, and I give you my process, you should be able to follow that process and get the same results. And that's just typical scientific method stuff. But what we're talking about, our grandparents, the Amish, all of the people that water bath can on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, that's all good, solid, anecdotal evidence. It's something that we can see with our eyeballs. It's just not necessarily repeatable. And because they're not doing the type of wholesale testing here that WEC is doing overseas or whatever, because that's the audience, we're left with what they developed in the 40s and 50s and have tinkered with, around the edges since then.
Well, and it makes a difference if, if you were first starting out as a canner, like I've told Mr. Wayne, I told him, I said, Wayne, I said, you need to get one of these books, and you need to go by it.
Yep, absolutely.
And until you learn it, you need to learn this book first and the way that they do it. Then once you've learned the process and stuff, you can turn around and maybe tweak stuff. Start by doing that. And then once you've learned it, you can kind of tell how to do different things that is not in that book.
Right. And that's exactly the way that we started. We've got that book. It sits on our shelf above the kitchen counter. We still refer to it if we forget or we have a
I do
question. We've also got the free downloaded PDF from the National Center for Home Food Preservation, and we refer to that. Those are great resources. And like you said, learn how to can by the numbers, learn the why of it, and then once you understand the why of it, you can look at a recipe, whether it be from me or from somebody's grandmother, and go, yeah, that makes sense because the food densities they match, the times look right, the acidity is okay. Or you can look at that and go, nah, that ain't gonna work. You'll know.
Yeah, yeah. It makes a big difference once you've been doing it and everything. And like I said, I didn't can anything last year, but when I started back this year, it all came right back.
Mhm.
I know exactly, the 75 minutes, the 90 minutes for your meats, your 40 minutes for potatoes, stuff like that. And I mean, like the other day, I was doing some beef, and I had some quarts, and I had a couple of pints.
Mhm.
I just did them all for 90 minutes.
Yep.
It did not hurt them pints to go longer.
Mm-mm.
It's just the shorter. I couldn't
Right.
do the quarts for 75 minutes. So, and it's I know Jen is one that preaches this a lot in her videos, or not preaches it, but she's always saying, she goes, I got this, 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 and this. Well, this over here has to be processed the longest. So I'm going with that's the amount of time that it takes to process whatever I'm doing.
Right. And that's
Eh,
the thing about it. You look at when you're breaking down a recipe, you look at your longest ingredient, and typically you'll process it for that amount of time. If you're processing quarts, you can stack pints in there with them. The quart processing time is going to handle the pints, because the pressure is the same.
mhm.
Uh, so from a pressure canning standpoint, that's never a problem. You can pressure can different types of food, like you said. You just have to hit that time for the longest food. So chicken or whatever the case may be.
Right. That's like I haven't done it yet, but I'm fixing to experiment with my chili.
Hmm.
I wanted my wife and everybody, they love my chili because it's the kind of chili that does not have beans. It's
Thank goodness.
it's a Texas competition style chili. My chili doesn't have beans, and I want to can it because they love to. I use ground beef in mine, where in Texas for competition they use, stew meat and
Right.
stuff like that. But my wife and them love to make a chili cheese dog out of it,
Mhm.
and she wants me to can the little jelly jars so that when she goes to pull, a hot dog out and we do it on the grill, she can go ahead and make it over there. I haven't tried it yet, but I know it's got beef in it. We're going
Mhm.
90 minutes. I don't care if it's the little jelly jar or if it's a pint jar, you still going 90 minutes.
Yeah, and you could get away with 75 on a pint and on those jelly jars, but if you're doing a whole lot of it and you got some quarts going in there, do it all for 90. It ain't gonna hurt it.
Right.
If,
That's what
if
I'm
that
saying.
extra,
Go ahead. I was just going to say that it doesn't matter if it's that quart and it's got that jelly jar beside it. I'm going to go with that 90 minutes,
Mhm.
but she wants some jelly jars to put in the refrigerator or on the shelf so that she can pull it off.
Yep.
And it, just a like with me and her eating it.
Yeah, if that extra time makes you feel better, then not go for it. That's the
Yeah.
thing about it. It ain't gonna hurt a thing in the world.
No, no. And I mean, and I am having so much fun. And I'm going to tell you, if it wasn't for, uh, Amber with Hollis Homestead and them getting and showing me doing all their canning in that new canner.
Hmm.
Well, I bought the Nesco 9.5. Well, the buddy down the hall from me at work seen what I was doing with mine. Him and his wife bought the 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's coworker that I was telling you about a while ago, she, after eating the chicken and making chicken salad, she went out and bought the 9.5 Nesco. So we're giving Nesco some good props on this side, and I'm gonna tell you, it's some of the most fun I'm having. And guys, when we come back, me and Patrick might try to find some more lies that people are saying about canning. No, I'm gonna ask Patrick about what is his favorite thing to can, and we'll be back in just a minute. Let them bark, let them go. It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
I didn't tell them what the cats are on the porch or something.
There you go. All right, we'll be back right after this.
It's just a reminder that you and I are adults, so go do your adult things today. Be mature.
Back to the basics with Big Dave. Back to the basics with Big Dave. Contact the show. Email bigdave3xl@gmail.com.
And welcome into Back to the Basics with Big Dave. We're on number 3. Patrick, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is, what is your favorite thing to can?
You know, we can so much stuff, and of all the things, it's still bone broths and stocks. I love doing that. It's just it's a staple here. It's something that we use all the time. It's using every bit of the animal. You know, like our chickens. When we raise our chickens, we butcher them. We'll part them out. We'll save the carcasses and the feet, and we'll make stock out of those.
I've heard that the feet and stuff. I had a rotisserie chicken the other day, and it still had the neck on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I pulled it out after making 4 quarts of chicken broth, that was the prettiest. I mean, since I started back doing it, my wife looked at it and went, "Wow, that is the liquid gold that you always say."
Absolutely. And it's just you get every bit of the benefit of that animal. You get minerals and from the bones, good fats and protein, and just a ton of flavor. It just adds so much flavor to anything you cook them with. So it's still stocks, whether it's chicken stock or venison bone broth, anything like that. But I got to be honest, skin on steak fries, dry canned, they're right up there.
I haven't done steak fries yet. I've done the little B square, hash browns. Now, I'll tell you, we've been tearing them up, and with a little pat of butter.
Oh yeah.
But you know who that lady Ruth Zimmerman is?
Mm-hmm.
She does hers. She don't put a pat of butter in hers. She melts butter and puts it all over them and shakes the butter all over the potatoes before she puts them in there.
Yep. That would give you a better coating of butter. It would probably keep them from oxidizing in the jar, because that butter's gonna coat it and keep the oxygen, whatever oxygen is left in the jar, from getting to them.
Right.
And it's just gonna make them taste good when you skillet fry them or whatever.
It also keep that bottom little bit where it all settles down, and what I call my part. When everybody, that bottom part, that's the hardest to get out of a jar or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you, the fries are good. My favorite is pasta sauce.
Yep.
I love to can pasta sauce and jellies and jams. It's just it's my love language to myself because I love the way that, you sit there and the tomatoes and then you put your seasonings in it and, you got it just right. And, and speaking of that, there's my recipe. you know, I've got my recipe right here, and I've already typed it up and everything. But I love. I was telling you before the show today. For me, canning is therapeutic.
Right.
I forget about everyone, anyone, all my problems. Oh, I didn't do this at work. I need to do this tomorrow at work. Which you don't have to worry about that because you're retired now. And if anybody went to work at that household, who would it be?
It'd probably be Miss Mounthart now.
That yeah.
Yep. She
But
don't want
yeah,
to work, so we're retired.
that's right. But it's just so therapeutic as far as going through and you're following a recipe or it's already in your head, you know what to put in it. And it just and then to see I've got to put another shelf up in the pantry.
Mhm.
Just to I have a whole shelf, the whole top. I cleaned it out and it's just full of everything that I've been canning since the first of the year. And now I'm gonna go about 10 inches, enough where quartz can go up there
Right.
and right above them. And I'm gonna go kind of like behind you. You were saying in a live the other night, you could go in between your shelves
Right here.
and and put another shelf there so that you could get more on your shelves.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm already at the point where I need to put another shelf on the top and get it secured in because I've kind of have you ever thought about the weight that you're putting on shelves?
Oh yeah. When we built the house, the way that we built it, this was going to be the design call for this to be part of a full front porch.
No,
Well, we
okay.
enclosed half of the front porch, and the way that I set the foundation, I've got um, piers along the front, and then the wall between the pantry and the kitchen also has piers and load bearing. And so, because I've got a chest freezer in here, a refrigerator, and then all of these jars, so we
Yeah,
really beefed up this area here. But you're right, because you're putting, you know, probably 1,000 pounds of food
easy.
in jars on these shelves, in addition to everything else.
And I didn't think about that until the other day. And I'm sitting there looking, going, well, I'm glad it's got an arm here and an arm there. And I'm sitting here going, should I put another arm here and another one there and another one over there? Just to make sure because I'm in a regular pantry like I'm using right now, it's just wire shelves.
Right. Well, we had to come in and add these 2 by material here. When I first built it, I didn't put enough in there. We had some sagging because of the weight. So,
Right.
it is heavy, and that's something people need to think about. There's a ton of weight for sure.
I would hate to wake up in the middle of the night and hear a crash and it's
Uh,
all my work hitting the floor.
well, talking about your work, you were telling me before we started the show that you canned 80 or so jars of food, quarts of
It's
food.
what I think I got it it was either the second or the third week into January that I got that electric canner
Hmm.
and I started practicing or I call it practicing. I wasn't practicing. I was doing my wife is real picky about the texture of a meat.
Right.
I don't like to do ground beef.
Hmm.
I don't like the way it tastes. I
Right.
don't like the way it feels in my mouth after I've canned it. So I won't do ground beef. I will do it in my chili,
Right.
but it's going to be different. But I won't just do plain ground beef. So I started off with doing. I did some pork chops and I
Hmm.
did some chicken, and I wanted her to try them because I wasn't going to sit there and waste a lot of money. Well, she tried the first jar of chicken, and she went, "This tastes like you cooked it in the crock pot all day long."
Yep.
Well, and then as it sits on the shelf with the broth in it, it just gets deeper and deeper
Mhm.
flavors.
Just gets
And
better.
then I did some chicken broth, and her and my father-in-law tried it because I made chicken and dumplings with homemade chicken broth. Golly, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we ate all the dumplings out of it that night. Well, the next day I heated it back up to a boil and I poured pasta in there. We had chicken and chicken noodle soup.
Oh, I bet it was fantastic.
Oh, it was, my wife was like, "This is a lot better than Campbell's." I
Oh,
went,
yeah.
"Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is." But I've probably done about, in the last month and a half, about 80 jars that I'm putting on the shelf. And I, I I see no signs of slowing down. I've got another 5 pounds of potatoes I've got to do this weekend. I've got another 5 or 6 jars of pasta sauce I'm going to do this weekend. So I'm trying to catch up with y'all from January and everything, but I'm enjoying the crap out of this. And pull one of them jars you got right there behind you, that the cranberries. Yeah. Show everybody them things right there. Now you can't can them unless you've split them.
That's what they'll tell you. That's what they say.
You know, same with grapes, isn't it?
Yeah. The whole thing with cranberries, grapes, any type of fruit like that, the recipe calls for cooking them on the stove until they split. That's not a safety issue. That's a culinary practice. They tell you to do that because it releases juice faster. The reality is the cranberries are acidic enough at about 2.6 pH. They're 2 orders of magnitude more acidic than they need to be. That you can drop in a jar, fill it up with water, put the lid on it, and water bath can it, and they're going to be fine. They're acidic enough as it is to not have the botulinum grow. Unfortunately, a lot of folks have taken that recipe instruction to cook them on the stove until they split as some kind of safety issue, and think that they have to split that cranberry so the botulinum spore that's hidden in the middle of the cranberry is not going to be able to germinate. The skin on a cranberry is very, very thin, and they're very small. They're smaller than grapes.
Yeah.
The heat of the canning process easily penetrates all the way to them. And I promise you, if we pulled every one of these cranberries out of there, you would see where they had split.
I can see them.
Canning process.
I
yeah.
can see them right there. They're split.
But if you want to have a good time on Facebook or on TikTok, just jump on there and tell people that you don't have to have your cranberries split before you can them.
All the USDA, the alphabet people start coming to you, don't they?
They do, and they don't. A lot of times, and if people want to follow the rules that strictly, they're going to produce a food that's safe to eat. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just, folks don't even know why they hold a belief.
And that's one of the things that I want to talk about when we come back. Guys, we're going to run out, pay some bills, and we will be back right after this.
So you're outage proofing your freezer when you learn to can.
Back to the basics with Big Dave.
Got the breeze blowing like mercy on tap. You turn my worries to worship, how about that? Used to feel stuck, now I'm free in the light. Like it flipped on a switch in the middle of night. Now I two-step through the trials, singing with a smile, devil
And welcome back into Back to the Basics with Big Dave. Patrick, one of the things that we were gonna talk about is I can't believe that I've done 86, and you were breaking that down a minute ago. I mean, that's quarts and pints, but like I was telling you, my chicken, each jar is $2.20.
Right. And so you think about it, if you have a quart of chicken canned up, you feed 4 people with that. That's 4 servings of quality boneless, skinless chicken breast.
Mm-hmm.
You can't feed 4 people a decent chicken-based meal out away from the home for less than $2.50. You just
Right,
can't get close.
right,
So
right.
Cannon saves an incredible amount of money.
Well, and I think it was 2 weeks ago. It was going to be cold on a Friday night, and we usually, we'll go out on a Friday night. Just I don't feel like cooking, but I'm getting to where with using the jars that are in the pantry, I can cook it. It tastes better and it's quicker than any takeout I can go to.
Oh, absolutely. We made a video here a while back where we did venison tips, like a beef tips and gravy, but
Yeah.
we used for deer meat. And it took me longer to cook the rice than it did to warm up the deer meat and make me a good dark brown gravy to go with it.
Right. One of the things that you were talking about, and I did see the video where you were talking about your black beans. Tell the listeners about that.
So we bought I think it was a 4-pound bag of dry black beans, and we canned those because we like to have canned black beans when we have enchiladas or
Mhm.
tacos or something like that. And we took that 4-pound bag of beans and we cooked a few of them for ourselves, but then we made 38 pints of canned uh, black beans. Now you go to the store and that bag of beans cost us $10. You go to the store and you buy 38 15-ounce cans of like a Goya brand black bean at Walmart. That's $1.58, I think, is what it
Yep.
is, a can. And so we turned that $10 bag of beans into $60 worth of canned food. And it's on the shelf. It's shelf stable. It's going to be, it cost me $10 to make. It's never going to be more expensive. And that 38 jars of beans will last us a year.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat, and it's just the two of y'all.
Right.
So you pull out one jar of black beans, and you've got leftovers.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that is a big deal. One of the things that I was telling you, just like I made tonight with the beef sandwiches and stuff, and all we end up having leftovers.
Mhm.
Well, my father-in-law eats them the next day. He's retired. He can eat them the next day, and I know what he's eating. He's not running out to McDonald's or Hardee's or whatever and eating all that sodium.
Mhm.
Now, he did tell one of my wife's aunts the other day that he is gaining weight since since he moved in with us, or we moved in with him, and he's gained weight, but he's like, I'm just waiting on spring to get here so I can start walking
There
again,
you go.
But I'm glad to know that he's enjoying it. He's being able to have a good meal every night. My wife loves it because she gets home at 5, and I'm either done or I'm almost finished with supper when she walks in the door, and
Yeah.
she loves that. And tonight, it took me longer. I cut up the little yellow potatoes
Mhm.
and did them, and it took me longer to cut them up and put them in the oven. I had them on, and about 10 minutes before they were done is when I started my meat,
Yep.
and it's so much better and everything. I'm enjoying, the canning process. I'm enjoying, I enjoy people liking it.
Right.
And I didn't realize, like I was telling you about the canner, the electric canner, I got it so that I could do experiments.
Mhm.
because I don't like ground beef, and you don't like ground beef either, do you?
The texture of canned ground beef just does not agree with me.
It doesn't me either. And the first time I ever did it, I messed up and did 10 pounds worth of beef,
Ooh.
ground beef. Well, we ended up throwing it all away,
Mhm.
cleaning, chunking it in the garbage and cleaning the jars out and went, well, I'll never make that mistake again. So when I bought this electric canner, I'm doing small batches to make sure that everybody likes it, or the majority of us like it,
Right.
before I go on and do a whole big batch in my regular canner on top of the stove.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of something like that Nesco. The price point is really comparable to what a stovetop, a basic entry level stovetop canner is. So somebody that may be a little bit intimidated by the idea of an old school pressure canner can still pressure can. It doesn't cost them any more to get into it, and it's like running a crock pot. But
It
you get
really is. It's almost, you remember that Ronco, set it and
uh-huh.
forget it.
Yeah.
That is almost exactly
Yep.
what this thing is. You turn it on vent, it beeps, it goes through its 10 minutes of venting, and then you turn it over to airtight, and then you unplug it when it's done. I
Yep.
mean, I love that aspect because I'm not having to babysit it on the stove,
Right. And
which
it doesn't matter if you have a glass top stove. You don't have to worry about those things.
right.
It's a great little device.
I need to start doing. Which I was going to tell you, I was sad the the first weekend in February when I turned on Saturday night and y'all were not there doing the live. I
Yeah.
went, oh, you're killing me.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what day it was, and I went, oh, they're done for this month. But I need to start doing like you do and putting something in the pot and turning it on and sitting there and do a live while I and talk to people while it's on the stove over here. That is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. Is I pulled up one night and you're sitting there in a chair,
Hmm.
you got your arm, your left arm on the daggum stove, and you're sitting there and you're doing a TikTok live, and people are asking you questions and everything, and you're turning it so that they can see, all the stuff. That's one of the coolest things that I had seen in a long time, and I was like, "God, when I grow up, I want to be like Patrick."
It's a lot of fun, and that's a great way to build community. I've met so many, wonderful people through TikTok. If it wasn't for TikTok, I wouldn't have met you. And it's just the way you really can to grow a community there, and it's fun to help people because we had to start somewhere. We had people helping us, and it's a blessing to be able to help other people and answer questions.
Well, and I was saying on one of our other shows, I think with Wayne, uh, y'all, the Preservation Nation is kind of taking me in,
Mhm.
and it's like you said, it's a community, and the only one I've got to get Kylie with Olive Bloom Homestead on here. She's the only one of y'all four that I haven't. I mean, yeah, of y'all four that hasn't been on the show yet. So, uh, you
Well, I
know,
know she's excited about the opportunity. She wants to get with you for sure.
well, and I know she's got kids and everything, and her and Amber with Hollis Homestead. Uh, I mean, I remember them days.
Hmm.
I remember them days, and I'm gonna tell you, I wished I would have been canning and stuff back then,
Oh yeah.
because the stuff like that Amber was talking about on her last one, she was talking about freeze drying, and yeah, it's expensive. And one day I'm going to end up getting me a freeze dryer, uh, but I mean that's not top on my list right now.
Right.
Uh, but to be able to pull up at a ballpark, and she kills me. She takes the stuff with her.
Hmm.
That was one of the hardest things for me, is when we would do away games, you had to have enough money. You got to go out to eat. You got to feed your kid, your other kid. your wife, you. And if they bring any friends with them, then you got to feed all of them.
Yep. Yep.
And it's crazy how that goes. All right, Patrick, let everybody know where they can find you. We got a couple of minutes left, and tell them where you're at on TikTok and everything, and where everybody can find you.
So, TikTok is where it all started. It's Mountain Heart Homestead on TikTok. We're Mountain Heart Homestead on YouTube. Mainly shorts over there. We're going to lean more into the long form stuff and grow that community as well. We are on Facebook at Mountain Heart Homestead, and that page grew quickly. We're, I think, at about 104,000 followers over there, and so we can so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube is all Mountain Heart Homestead. Same logo that you see on the TikTok is that's who we are.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I want to thank you for y'all's community taking me in, teaching me some stuff, lighting a fire under my butt to get back started. If it wasn't for y'all, you guys, it's Jen again, Amber with Hollis Homestead, Kylie with
Olive Blue Homestead.
Homestead, and you, y'all really took me under y'all's wing and have really, and I knew a whole lot of it, but I was, I guess I was lacking the motivation.
Right.
But then I found y'all and the stuff that y'all were doing. I was like, I can do that. I can do that. And y'all kind of stuck a fire under my butt and got me back going. And now 86 jars later,
Yeah,
here I am, and I ain't stopping.
no, that's the thing. And of course, the other place that we all four are, and that you interact with us at, is also our Preservation Nation Facebook page. So folks can go to Preservation Nation, Rebel, Traditional, and everything in between, and join that page. It's got almost 16,000 people on it, but we moderate that page. It's the only two rules are no promotions and be nice.
Yeah,
And,
be nice.
you can ask questions there. It's a place where you can ask questions about any type of canning and preserving.
Well, brother, I want to thank you, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. We've had some technical difficulties.
It's okay.
We're going through them. And everybody go out and find him on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And, give him a like, give him a follow. Tell him Big Dave sent you over there. And we will see y'all next week. Y'all have a good one.
2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Don't be scared, be prepared.